Assalamu alaikum everybody. Just to get straight into it, DCCI and Hatoun was live yesterday with a special guest, and he was going to talk about his journey, how he left Islam, as you can see from the title. But halfway through watching the video, you realize that the guy never was a Muslim, and he didn't fit the narrative of DCCI. So they changed the title, and then eventually they removed the video completely. The sad thing is, a lot of DCCI followers and contributors don't realize they're getting brainwashed and radicalized if you just read through the comments. But anyway, I digress. Let's roll the video.
So yes, like my sister said, I'm Nordin. I live in Belgium. I was born and raised in Belgium. I have a Moroccan Italian background. So, like I said, I was born and raised in Belgium and in a interracial family. My mother is Moroccan.
Interfaith, yeah.
Yeah, interfaith. Also because I would not say yet faith because neither my father nor my mother was really a practicing person in faith. So they were just already at that time. I am 31, so I speak at least 35 years ago. It was very uncommon to have a Moroccan wife to be married with an Italian. So that was very uncommon. That was something very strange and almost not even. I think today it's very rare to see this kind of things. So I was born and raised in this kind of family where I have one side Italians, very in fire, southern people who have a big temperament, and then you have the Moroccan side. They are not lesser than the Italians on that thing, so they are very fire and very yeah. If you see Moroccans, you will notice them. You will see they are there. It's not that you don't see them or not hear them. You will notice them. So having these two kind of bloods in my body that make that I was a all-time extrovert guy who liked attention. My parents, they were divorced when I was like 3 years old, 4 years old. Not about faith reasons, just personal reasons between them. And so I was always raised by my mother, and I went to my father by the weekends. 7 years old, when I was 7, my father became Christian. For me, it was new because I never knew my parents like people who believed. They were not practicing believers, not my mother, not my father. They were just people, regular people that know about God, but they don't practicing anything. So it was very new. So that on that moment we began to go to church every Sunday on a Pentecostal church, and till one day my father brought me to a evening from a Pentecostal evening, a healing evening. Not that I need healing of something, but it was just an evening to be in fellowship with other believers. And like I said, I remember it very clear till this day. And at the end of the evening, the guy said, "Who wants to give his heart to Jesus?" So, like on that moment, I could not stay sitting down on my chair. My father didn't look at me. He never talked to me. He never said even a word about it. He didn't even realize that I would go. And at some point, he found me on with this guy who asked to come. Yes,
Priest.
the priest. Yeah, it was kind of priest. He said, and I was at the front, and I was giving my heart boldly to Jesus Christ. And that's now I understand why Jesus said that we have to become like children and believe. We have to be children if you want to come to Jesus, because without this childish, the innocentness of a child, and that's why many people cannot come to Christ, because they are too intellectual. They think too much, but a child doesn't think. He goes, and at that moment I went boldly, and I went to give my heart to Jesus. I didn't know what it meant, but something drew me there. Not my father's voice, not somebody who pushed me. It was something that attracted me to go there to give my heart to this man called Jesus Christ. Didn't know much about it, never touched the Bible. And that's what I mean. This kind of love, what Jesus Christ has, is, you cannot describe it. It's something beyond everything. So I went there, I gave my life to Jesus, I gave my heart to Jesus. I was a young guy. And then for me, life didn't change much. So I went there, I gave my life to Jesus, I gave my heart to Jesus. I was a young guy. And then for me, life didn't change much. So I went there, I gave my life to Jesus, I gave my heart to Jesus. I was a young guy. For me, life didn't change much, because I was a troubled son. I had a lot of troubles on school. I was a very rebellious kid. I was always in conflict with everyone. I was always the kid who didn't uh, belong to anybody, because I was always put in schools, the Catholic schools. But in the Catholic schools at that time, it was very rare to find other Moroccans, Italians, or something. There were 90% of the people when there were white Belgian people. So at that time, I was a little bit darker than now. My skin was darker, and I had hair at that time, black hair. So I was the guy who was always noticed, and on a bad way, because I was a rebellious kid, because my parents were divorced. I had a frustration in me. I have a anger in me, and to mask my anger, I was always the clown, the funny man. I had always to be the guy who had to make everybody laugh, to make even at that point that I had that I make jokes on people. So as long the attention doesn't come to me, that people see something behind my mask, and remember this. I will come afterwards back to this. So I was during my age always looking, during my youth, always looking who I am in this community, in this country, Belgium, where the people were, for me, not kind to people who had a name like me. And I was not in friendship with Moroccans. I wasn't in friendship with Italians. So I was always battling against who am I in this community from young off. And during this time, I went always to the church every Sunday. And every Sunday I was praying that Monday would be a great day on school. That Monday I wouldn't have any troubles. That Monday I wouldn't have any problems at school, or rebellion or something. And every Monday again, I had this problems. I had this stress and this furious anger in me. So I'm gonna go a little bit forward in my age. I was like 15 years old, and I was starting to go into the youths of the church. But at that time, I didn't like it anymore, because there were like couples in the youth. They were kissing each other, and I didn't like it. I said, this is not something I think it's good, because we are here to be sincere with God, and people are just having fun with each other, and I didn't like it. So I was drawing more back from the church, and I was at that age getting more closely to Moroccans. And I found a connection, because during this age, what I didn't mention, Every year during the vacation, July and August, I went 2 months to Morocco. Always on vacation, 2 months. That was the rest for my mother. So 2 months you go to Morocco and I have some rest. So I was at that time always, yeah, learning my not Arabic, Darija, how you can say it in Moroccan. The Moroccans, they don't speak
It's a
uh,
different dialect of Arabic,
yeah, they don't
Darija.
speak Fusha, they speak
Yeah.
Darija in Morocco. So every 2 months there, I was sharpening my Darija and I was getting back to my roots. And it was always a funny time with my grandparents. My grandparents, they were devoted Muslims, but on a nice way. They were like, they never bothered you with, you have to pray, you have to do this, you have to do that. They were like, I do my prayers and that's it. But he never, my grandfather never bothered me and asked me, do you read the Quran or do you praying? Or he was not like, he was not like this. He was free-minded. He was very cool. He was like, I'm doing my thing. One day you will do your thing. So I was not bounded by um, religion in my family. It was not like they were devoted Muslims in my family. My grandfather and grandmother, they were devoted. They went to Hajj. My grandmother puts the scarf on till this day. My grandfather already passed. Uh, so yeah, for me it's like it was never, how can I say, um, exposed to me how Islam was. I never knew. I knew Islam like my grandfather goes to the mosque and sitting down the couch the whole day watching National Geographic to the animal kingdom. So that was for me being Muslim at that time. So I didn't had any more knowledge about it. So at 15, 16 years old, when I met Moroccans, that's a very vulnerable age because at that time I was, yeah, transforming. I was like, who am I now? Who am I? Am I Italian? Am I Moroccan? Am I Muslim? Am I Christian? Because to be with Moroccans, to be with surrounded with Moroccans with a pre-name Nordin, they already assumed I was a Muslim. There was not the period when I had to do the Shahada, where I had to confess that I was Muslim. I was a Muslim, whether you like it or not. You are one of us. Even you are half Moroccan, half Italian, you are one of us. So I was like, okay. And I found out that they also had angry problems. So I was not the only one. And I found out that they also had issues in their life. So I was not the only one. So I find out that they also have this weakness of not be fit in the culture of the Belgian people. So I was like, okay, this is my family. This is where I belong because now I find people, they understand me, I understand them. We understand each other without even talking. We don't even need to share uh, things because we see it in the eyes. The hate, the pain, the frustrations, the emotions that we try to hide and to mask. And then 16, 17 years old, I started smoking cannabis every day. That was also something, a part of the Moroccan culture. So that was something, yeah, you get it added also on you, Moroccan nabi, like they say, the Moroccan like a cafe. Can I say it like this?
Coffee?
Yes, so you go there, you get your piece of hashish and you smoke it, and for me it was like okay, I don't have to think about a lot of things anymore. I just smoke and I have a free life. I do whatever I want. My mother didn't had any hold on me. I changed school from school um, till one point I had to take a bus from my house till the school was 1 hour. On that bus trip, I had already my drug supply. I sold it to people who wanted to get that want to smoke. So for me, it was like, okay, I think I'm good in this kind of life. This is for me. Um, I was surrounded with people that there was no problem to do to do those things. You go out, you start to drink, you start to be honest, it was not my thing drinking. I liked a lot to smoke because it was my thing. I liked to smoke, and that was that's the only thing I had in my mind at that time. But during this time, I always had something in my heart, and that was Jesus Christ. And there was a moment when I was 18 years old, and I was like going to the mosques. I was praying. I was doing Ramadan. I was doing all this kind of things. Besides smoking, there was no problem for in the Islam. There was no problem as long you pray and you ask forgiveness. Allah has a big mountain of forgiveness, so He can forgive you every time whenever you come to Him. So for me, it was like, okay, it's good, and that Allah is merciful, and Allah is so that was for me the vision that I had of Islam because of my friends. So that was for me the vision that I had of Islam because of my friends, my Moroccan friends. That was the Islam that I learned from them.
I think we'll leave it there. As you saw from his testimony, he never was brought up in a Muslim environment. He gave his heart to Christianity and nothing happened for him. He went to Morocco, he was smoking drugs. Unfortunately, the environment he saw on Islam was not perfect. So that's why he never really was a perfect Muslim or a Muslim to begin with, as you saw from his testimony, because in his heart he was always a Christian. But if you saw carefully Hatoun's body language, it did not fit the narrative, and he exposed a lot of stuff about what was going on in the church, hence why they removed the video. Anyway, I digress. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.